Hello and welcome to another episode of the TES Secondary Maths Resource of the Week with me, Craig Barton. Now, have a look at this. For your classroom, 50 primary maths questions, volume 1. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is supposed to be the secondary maths resource of the week. What on earth are you doing showing me primary maths questions? And that's often the mistake I make when I'm looking for resources on TES for my own planning. As soon as I see primary, I think, nah, don't think so. I'm aiming for the secondary thing. But of course, any of you who've visited primary schools, and those of us who have taught year 7s and year 8s, will know that primary school students know a hell of a lot of mathematics. There's some phenomenal teaching happening in primary schools. And indeed, the vast majority of year 7 and year 8 schemes of work seem to comprise of what students have studied at primary school. So it's often worth dipping in, just as a general rule, if you're looking on TES, dip into the primary market. And whether you be teaching fractions or basic number operations or whatever it may be, dip in and see if there's any decent stuff out there, because I guarantee there will be. And flipping it, this is no exception. This is wonderful. For your classroom, 50 primary maths questions, volume 1. Let's have a look at it. It's a PDF and it looks like this. How best to describe this? Well, these once you get from kind of chapter 2 downwards, they're essentially strategies or kind of question stems. But what I love about them is they're not topic specific. They can be used for all kinds of stuff. And I'll discuss how I personally use them at the end of this video. But let's just take a look at a couple first. True and false will be no surprise. And again, it's just nice to have some ideas for different questions for true or false. But, everyone will have used true or false activities before. Maybe sometimes it goes into the guise of convince me or convince me that and so on. Absolutely wonderful to get kids thinking a little bit deeper. But how about this? I thought this was lovely. It's kind of a new little twist on true or false. Correct, almost, no chance. I love that. So showing kids a calculation and getting them to say straight away, just from looking at it, what do you reckon? Correct, almost correct, or no chance? And it's this no chance that's interesting. How many times have you marked kids' work, whether it be homeworks or exams, seen an answer and thought, come on, can that ever flipping be right? Whether it be a mean that they've worked out that's actually bigger than every single data value, or some ridiculous calculation when they've multiplied by a decimal and all of a sudden the numbers got absolutely massive. So getting kids to look at calculations and straight away, can they say, is it going to be either correct or almost, or is it going to be no chance? I just thought it was a really, really nice approach. I love that. Odd one out is brilliant for discussion, and again, just to show you there's lots of different ways that can be used. What comes next for sequences, fantastic. But I like this one as well. What's the same and what's different? So brilliant for provoking discussion. It works particularly well for things like that. Properties of quadrilaterals, anything involving definitions, it's superb. Just think there, like, how would you answer that? What's the same between a square, a rhombus and a rectangle? And specifically, what's different? It really gets kids to focus in onto the nitty gritty of it. As I say, that'll work with any definition-based thing. Mean, median and mode. What's the same? What's the different between those? Chuck range into the mix to really get kids thinking as well. But there are other ones that I was thinking of, and I was kind of inspired by this when I saw that, 3.5, 6, 4.5 and 5. It'd be great for rounding, right, this. So you could give kids something like 2.9, 3 and 3.56. What's the same? What's different when it comes to rounding? What degree of accuracy causes those things to round to the same thing? What causes it to round to different things? Loads and loads and loads of potential. And it carries on. I like this. What's the rules? Really nice. Again, slightly linked into sequences there. This is good as well. Here's the answer. What's the question? Almost like Jeopardy, giving kids an answer and saying, can you write me a question that will give you that answer? And it could be number based or it could be definition based, which is really nice. And it carries on. What's the context? There's a question. Can kids come up with a real life context or a contextual based problem that would be the solution to? Look at that, 9 takes 16. What will the kids come up with that? And it's just, these are just wonderful for getting kids to think slightly deeper about it. And they carry on. So how would you use this? Well, I think there's two ways. One way is to have this on hand in the classroom. Now, whether you use that kind of up around the walls, or you have it on your desk in front of you. But when I'm delivering a lesson, these are great prompts to have when I'm thinking of questions on the spot. Maybe I use them for extension material for students. Instead of having to dig out some new work for them, let's use one of these kind of question stems or categories to really get kids thinking. Or better still, I use these with my planning. I am obsessed planning questions. I love planning questions far more than planning resources. So I will have these with me, and indeed this is saved as a shortcut on my desktop. I will have these with me to help me plan my questions. And sure, I'm going to still have my closed, factual-based recall questions. Sure, I'm going to still have my standard worked examples that I'll do. But then I'll chuck something like this into the mix to really get students thinking when they are fluent with the procedure that I'm teaching them. And I just think that the wealth of ideas here and the fact that it's generic in the sense that this can be used with a whole host of different topics, any age group, any ability of students, I just think this is wonderful. I mean, things like this, correct almost no chance. I could use that with my year 13s. I could give them an integral, show them a question, show them an answer and say, what do you reckon? Correct, almost correct, or no chance? And have they got that instinct? Can they look for that defining feature that enables them to rule something out as a mistake? And then we can dig further into it. So I just thought that was wonderful. For your classroom, 50 primary maths questions, volume 1. Get searching the primary stuff on TES. It is phenomenal. And if you like this resource, give it a download, give it a review, and let's get this spreading around. So I just thought that was wonderful. Anyway, I shall see you with a fresh resource of the week next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.